The War of the Worlds broadcast. The broadcast aired on October 30th, 1938, as part of the CBS radio series, The Mercury Theater on the Air. The program's format employed a faux breaking news style, which led some listeners to believe that a real Martian invasion was truly underway. The episode begins with an introductory monologue, closely following the opening of the original novel. The story then shifts to a typical evening radio broadcast with periodic news bulletins interrupting a program of live music. The first few bulletins report unusual explosions on Mars and an unknown object falling on a farm in Grover's Mill, New Jersey. The crisis escalates when a correspondent on site describes creatures emerging from an alien spacecraft and attacking with a heat ray. The panic spreads rapidly through live updates detailing the devastating alien invasion and the military's futile efforts to stop it. The broadcast is structured to simulate an unfolding crisis, with a live report from a rooftop in Manhattan describing citizens fleeing in panic from giant Martian war machines releasing poison smoke. The broadcast became infamous for causing panic among some listeners who mistook the fictional drama for real news reports. The lack of commercial interruptions during the initial crisis portion of the show further added to the illusion of realism. While it is now believed that the scale of panic was not as widespread as initially reported, the event highlighted the power of media in shaping public perception and raised concerns about its potential to incite fear and panic through fictional storytelling presented as news. Following the adaptation, there was widespread outrage and criticism from the media and public figures, with some calling for regulation by the FCC due to the perceived deceptive nature of the news bulletin format. In the end, it proved that the public would not only believe such a thing could occur, but that panic would inevitably arise from it. Some believe that this event served as the foundational moment that warranted the hiding of everything surrounding UFOs and extraterrestrials, for sake of preventing mass panic and chaos within society, potentially causing its collapse. The Battle of Los Angeles. During the early morning hours of February 25, 1942, a significant event occurred that would later become a part of the UFO and alien disclosure narrative. Known as the Battle of Los Angeles, this incident involved a massive anti-aircraft artillery barrage that took place over Los Angeles, California. The incident came less than 3 months after the US had entered World War II in response to the attack on Pearl Harbor by the Imperial Japanese Navy. Rumors and anxiety were already running high due to the ongoing war, and public fears of a Japanese attack on the US mainland were intensified. The incident was preceded by a warning from the Office of Naval Intelligence that an attack on mainland California was imminent. On the night of February 24th, numerous flares and blinking lights were reported in the vicinity of defense plants, leading to an alert being called at 7:18 p.m. Air raid sirens sounded, and a total blackout was ordered across Los Angeles County. At 3:16 a.m. on February 25th, the 37th Coast Artillery Brigade started firing anti-aircraft shells and 50 caliber machine guns into the air, targeting reported aircraft. Over 1,400 shells were fired during the barrage, causing damage to buildings and vehicles. However, no enemy aircraft were ever confirmed, and the barrage ended with the all-clear signal at 7:21 a.m. The incident garnered extensive media coverage, with newspapers reporting on the event and speculating about a possible enemy attack. Secretary of the Navy Frank Knox initially called the incident a false alarm, attributing it to anxiety and war nerves. However, this official explanation was met with skepticism by some contemporary press outlets and the public. In the years that followed, different explanations were put forth to account for the incident. The U.S. Coast Artillery Association suggested that a meteorological balloon sent aloft at 1 a.m. had triggered the barrage, and imagination had led to the firing at non-existent targets in the sky. The U.S. Office of Air Force History later attributed the incident to war nerves caused by a lost weather balloon and stray flares and shell bursts. The Battle of Los Angeles incident has been referenced in UFO and alien disclosure discussions due to its mysterious nature and the confusion surrounding the events. Some have speculated that the incident could have been related to unidentified aerial phenomena or even extraterrestrial visitation. However, the official explanations tend to emphasize war-related anxiety and misidentification rather than any otherworldly presence. Kenneth Arnold sighting and the flying saucer craze. Kenneth Arnold, a private pilot, reported witnessing 9 disc-like objects flying in formation near Mount Rainier in Oregon on June 24, 1947. His account gained widespread attention and sparked a wave of UFO sightings across the country. The media coverage of Kenneth Arnold's sighting led to a surge of public interest in UFOs and flying saucers. News outlets across the nation made headlines out of the encounter, bringing UFOs into the mainstream consciousness. Arnold's detailed description of the object's appearance and movement patterns, including their saucer-like shape, led to the popularization of the term flying saucers. Kenneth Arnold's sighting received further credibility when United Airlines pilot E.J. Smith, who flew the same Northwest route, reported witnessing a similar sighting of 9 discs in formation a few weeks later. The confirmation by another reputable pilot added to the growing belief that something unexplained was happening in the skies. Following his sighting, Kenneth Arnold sent a sketch of the objects to the Air Force, and he was later invited to California's Hamilton Field Army Air Base, where he was shown what were claimed to be authentic photos of a similar craft. This interaction with the military and the subsequent investigation by Air Force intelligence added to the intrigue surrounding the incident. Kenneth Arnold's UFO sighting became a sensation in the media. He was besieged by reporters from all over the world, and the sighting generated more attention than the end of World War II. The media attention further fueled public curiosity and discussions about the possibility of extraterrestrial life and advanced aerial technology. The Arnold UFO sighting, along with other UFO encounters that occurred around the same time, ushered in a cultural shift in how people perceived UFOs and non-human intelligence. It led to a significant increase in UFO sightings and reports, making UFOs a topic of fascination and debate in various circles. The Roswell UFO incident. While this may not have been the first major UFO case, the Roswell UFO incident of July 1947 has become one of the most infamous and controversial events in the history of UFO sightings and alleged encounters with non-human intelligence. In the small town of Roswell, New Mexico, the discovery of mysterious debris on a ranch sparked speculation that an extraterrestrial spacecraft had crash-landed on Earth. This event has since ignited a decades-long debate, conspiracy theories, and a search for answers about the existence of intelligent life beyond our planet. On that fateful day, a local rancher named Mac Brazel discovered debris scattered across his property. Believing it to be a flying saucer, he informed Walt Whitmore Sr., who asked Brazel to stay the night at his home. The following morning, an interview with Brazel was scheduled to be broadcasted, but it never aired due to a mysterious intervention. The military soon arrived, and the area was quickly secured, denying access to unauthorized individuals. The official explanation initially suggested that the debris was from a flying disc. However, as the incident unfolded, contradictory accounts emerged. Witnesses claimed to have seen not only debris, but also bodies of humanoid beings at the crash site. Claims of a cover-up by the U.S. military intensified, further fueling the belief that the truth was being hidden from the public. Over the years, a multitude of testimonies emerged, some supporting the extraterrestrial theory, while others asserted that the debris was from classified military projects like Project Mogul. Despite multiple investigations, the Roswell incident's true nature remains shrouded in uncertainty. Skeptics argue that the accounts are a mix of misidentifications, sensationalism, and Cold War paranoia, while UFO enthusiasts assert that the incident marks the most significant evidence of contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. The significance of the Roswell UFO incident lies not only in the enigma it poses, but also in its impact on the disclosure of UFOs and the concept of non-human intelligence. Following the incident, UFO sightings became a worldwide phenomenon, prompting widespread interest in the search for extraterrestrial life. Roswell became synonymous with government secrecy and conspiracy, galvanizing UFO researchers to uncover the truth. Throughout the years, the U.S. government has released multiple reports attempting to debunk the Roswell incident, attributing the debris to weather balloons or military experiments. However, many UFO enthusiasts remain unconvinced and believe that these explanations are part of an elaborate cover-up. It's also believed by many that the Roswell UFO incident was the event that sparked the creation of the controversial secret group. Majestic 12, also known as MJ-12, is a highly controversial and alleged secret organization that features prominently in UFO conspiracy theories. The concept of MJ-12 emerged in the 1980s during a period when ufologists were investigating the supposed cover-up of the Roswell UFO incident, seeking answers about a secretive upper tier of the US government responsible for concealing extraterrestrial encounters. The Flying Saucers Are Real, and The Creation of NICAP. The Flying Saucers Are Real was an article written by Donald Keyhoe for True magazine, and it quickly gained widespread attention and caused a sensation. In the article, Keyhoe discussed the odd and fast-moving aerial objects observed by pilot Kenneth Arnold in Washington state in 1947, which ignited widespread interest in UFOs across the United States. Keyhoe, who was initially skeptical, became convinced that the UFO sightings were not mere natural phenomena or secret military projects, but rather the products of unearthly intelligences. Keyhoe's article suggested that the US government was concealing the truth about UFOs, and this notion further fueled public curiosity and speculation. The article's success prompted Keyhoe to expand it into a book titled The Flying Saucers Are Real, which sold over 500,000 copies in paperback. In the book, Keyhoe argued that the Air Force had knowledge of extraterrestrial origins for the flying saucers, but was suppressing this information to avoid public panic. These ideas laid the groundwork for the establishment of the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena, NICAP, in 1956. Keyhoe, along with other prominent figures in the military, scientific, and professional fields, co-founded NICAP, giving the organization a level of legitimacy that set it apart from other UFO clubs of the time. NICAP's mission was to investigate and research UFO sightings and encounters, and it published a newsletter, the UFO Investigator, to communicate with its members. During Keyhoe's leadership, NICAP pushed for congressional hearings and an independent scientific investigation into UFOs, seeking to bring the subject into the spotlight and gain official recognition. However, they faced financial challenges and limited interest from government officials. Keyhoe's publicizing of the so-called Trick Memo raised questions about the impartiality of the Condon Committee, formed to study UFOs, which led to controversies and debates over the government's handling of UFO-related information. The combination of Keyhoe's writings and NICAP's activities helped to shape public perception and interest in UFOs, contributing to the growing cultural fascination with the possibility of extraterrestrial life and advanced civilizations beyond Earth. Gordon Cooper's UFO encounter. Gordon Cooper, a future astronaut, played a significant role in 1951. While flying in Europe for the U.S. Air Force, Cooper witnessed a cluster of 9 UFOs flying in formation at extremely high altitudes. Although the incident was never officially explained, Cooper and other pilots reported seeing hundreds of unidentifiable flying objects. Cooper's first-hand account of witnessing a large formation of UFOs flying at high altitudes generated intrigue and speculation among the public. The sighting added to the growing number of UFO reports and contributed to a sense of mystery surrounding these aerial phenomena. In 1957, Cooper again encountered a UFO while supervising flight testing at Edwards Air Force Base. He and his military camera crew filmed a saucer-shaped object landing near the site. The object exhibited remarkable maneuvers, lifting off and accelerating at high speeds, leaving Cooper and his crew baffled. In both cases, the unknowns were not confrontational whatsoever, simply progressing along their own cosmic journey. It was said that the video footage was given to the government and never seen again. In later years, Gordon Cooper became an advocate for UFO disclosure and transparency. He approached the United Nations with a proposal to establish a committee that would explore the UFO phenomenon and impartially analyze data and information related to these sightings. Cooper expressed his belief that the extraterrestrial vehicles and their crews were visiting Earth from other planets and possessed advanced technology beyond our own. He suggested that governments might be keeping this information private due to the obvious advancement of these extraterrestrial civilizations. Cooper's testimony and advocacy for UFO disclosure raised awareness of the subject among the public and within the government. His experiences and beliefs added to the ongoing debates about UFO secrecy, government cover-ups, and the potential implications of extraterrestrial visitation. Project Blue Book. Project Blue Book was a systematic study of unidentified flying objects by the United States Air Force, running from March 1952 to its termination on December 17, 1969. The project's initial goals were to determine if UFOs posed a threat to national security and to scientifically analyze UFO-related data. During its existence, Project Blue Book collected and analyzed thousands of UFO reports. The primary goal of Project Blue Book was to determine whether UFOs posed any potential threat to national security and to assess the credibility of reported sightings. Each case was thoroughly examined and categorized, with a vast majority of the reports attributed to natural phenomena or human-made objects, such as aircraft, weather balloons, or satellites. The project aimed to provide scientifically grounded explanations for the observed phenomena, and its final conclusions generally favored conventional explanations, and that most of the reported sightings were misidentifications of natural phenomena or conventional aircraft. However, 701 reports remained unexplained even after rigorous analysis. The termination of Project Blue Book was a pivotal moment in the timeline of UFO disclosure for several reasons. 1. Condon Report and scientific dismissal. The Condon Report, which concluded that studying UFOs would not yield significant scientific discoveries, led to the termination of Project Blue Book. The report's findings were later criticized for bias and lack of scientific rigor, but they influenced the Air Force's decision to discontinue UFO investigations. 2. Public perception and skepticism. The termination of Project Blue Book fueled public skepticism about the government's handling of UFO investigations. Critics claimed that the Air Force had a dismissive and debunking approach, which further deepened public mistrust and fueled conspiracy theories. 3. Continued UFO interest. Despite the termination of Project Blue Book, interest in UFOs and related phenomena persisted. UFO sightings and encounters continued to be reported, and private organizations, as well as individuals, continued investigating and researching UFO incidents. 4. The birth of conspiracy theories. The termination of Project Blue Book led to the emergence of conspiracy theories, suggesting that the government was hiding evidence of extraterrestrial encounters or advanced technologies. This further shaped public perception and the cultural narrative surrounding UFOs. 5. Renewed interest in UFO studies. Despite the official termination of Project Blue Book, some researchers and government entities continued studying UFOs secretly. The revelation of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program in 2017 indicated that UFO studies were still being conducted, albeit covertly. Project Blue Book's termination marked a turning point in the official government approach to UFO investigations. It contributed to public skepticism and conspiracy theories while also fueling ongoing interest in UFO-related topics. The Nash-Fortenberry UFO Incident. The Nash-Fortenberry UFO sighting is a well-documented encounter that occurred on July 14, 1952, when two commercial pilots and former Navy aviators with thousands of hours of flight experience, William B. Nash and William H. Fortenberry, reported seeing 8 UFOs flying in a tight echelon formation over Chesapeake Bay, Virginia. The sighting took place near Washington, D.C., and gained attention due to its precise measurements and independent ground witnesses. The pilot's observation allowed for relatively precise measurements of the object's motion and size when compared to known landmarks. Ufologists argue that this data, along with corroboration from several independent ground witnesses, supports the credibility of the encounter. The sighting was listed in the U.S. Air Force's Project Blue Book as an unknown, meaning it remained unexplained despite official investigations. William Nash and William Fortenberry were experienced commercial pilots with thousands of flight hours. They described the UFOs as 8 huge disks flying in a stacked formation over Chesapeake Bay. As the objects approached, they appeared to emit a red glow resembling a hot coal. The pilots estimated the object's speed to be between 6,000 and 12,000 miles per hour, displaying maneuvers that seemed beyond the capabilities of conventional aircraft. The Nash-Fortenberry UFO sighting added to the growing number of UFO reports and further fueled public curiosity and speculation about unidentified aerial phenomena. The sighting was significant not only due to the pilot's credibility, but also because it occurred near the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., raising concerns about national security and the potential involvement of government agencies. The testimony of experienced commercial pilots describing their encounter with unexplained objects flying at extraordinary speeds contributed to a cultural shift in public perception. The Washington, D.C. UFO incident. For 2 consecutive weekends, unknown blips appeared on radar at Washington National Airport, invading restricted airspace around the nation's capital. Air traffic controllers at Andrews and Bolling Air Force bases confirmed the presence of the unidentified objects. The appearance of UFOs near critical locations, such as the Capitol building and the White House, raised serious concerns about national defense. F-94 interceptors were scrambled to intercept the objects, but they vanished whenever the aircraft approached. The object's ability to elude interception indicated an intelligence beyond conventional aircraft capabilities. Pilot William Patterson attempted to intercept one of the glowing objects in his Starfire jet, but he found himself surrounded by 3 or 4 unknowns. Patterson transmitted a panicky air-to-ground message expressing his concern as he streaked at high speeds into the group of UFOs. Despite orders to shoot down the unknowns if necessary, the objects moved away from Patterson, leaving him unharmed. In response to the growing public and media attention, the Air Force's top brass hastily organized a press conference at the Pentagon, the largest since World War II. During the conference, General John Samford, Director of Air Force Intelligence, addressed the sightings. He explained that while the Air Force had analyzed thousands of reports, the majority could be adequately explained. However, a certain percentage of reports made by credible observers remained unexplained. General Samford suggested a 50-50 chance that the sightings could have been caused by radar waves bouncing off temperature inversions, implying they were atmospheric phenomena. The press conference aimed to downplay the significance of the sightings and assure the public that there was absolutely no connection to any secret U.S. developments. This explanation, however, left many skeptical, with some believing it was an attempt to dismiss the sightings without providing more substantial answers. The Washington, D.C. UFO incident garnered widespread media coverage, drawing attention to the UFO phenomenon and intensifying public curiosity. The incident's proximity to critical government facilities and the military's involvement added to the sense of mystery and raised questions about the true nature of UFOs and their potential implications for national security. Richard E. Byrd comes forward. Richard E. Byrd was a prominent American naval officer, aviator, and explorer known for his pioneering expeditions to both the Arctic and Antarctic regions. He achieved significant feats in aviation and polar exploration, such as reportedly becoming the first person to fly over the North Pole, and was awarded the Navy Cross for his valor and contributions. In a notable interview, Richard Byrd made a remarkable claim about a hidden continent that has never been seen by a human being. According to him, there is an enormous unexplored area, as large as the United States, beyond the pole on the other side of the South Pole from Middle America. Byrd expressed astonishment at the existence of such a vast and uncharted territory. While this mysterious admission doesn't directly relate to UFOs or aliens, his alleged diary revealed a different story. One such example was a flight beyond the North Pole, where he discovered a previously unknown land with prehistoric animals and lush green lands. This is where it was said he encountered several flying discs that escorted him to a hollow Earth society. This diary is highly controversial, with many doubting its validity. But in any case, this is one of the first instances of a highly ranked military member coming forward to admit something strange on a public interview. Socorro UFO Incident. The Zamora incident, also known as the Socorro UFO case, occurred on April 24, 1964, in Socorro, New Mexico. Officer Lonnie Zamora was on duty, chasing a speeding car when he spotted a cloud of smoke. Intrigued, he decided to investigate and came across a strange object described as a large white or silvery green saucer-shaped craft with a slight purple hue. Zamora saw two figures near the craft, which he described as small and dressed in white coveralls. Zamora's radio stopped working, and as he approached the object, it emitted a blast of fire, which made him retreat behind his car. The object then took off and hovered about 20 to 30 feet above the ground before flying away silently. After the incident, Zamora faced significant pressure and intimidation from unknown individuals who threatened him with the Official Secrets Act and warned him not to talk about what he saw. The landing site was investigated by officials from the FBI, military, and Project Blue Book, the official UFO investigations arm of the Air Force. They found peculiar footprints and a burn area at the site, which added to the mystery of the event. The incident gained significant attention, and people from all over sent Zamora letters expressing their beliefs or skepticism about what he had witnessed. The case went all the way to the Office of the President, and Dr. Alan Hynek, a Blue Book investigator, believed the Socorro case was similar to other UFO landing cases he had seen in France. Gerald R. Ford pushes for UFO investigation. In March 1966, future President, then U.S. House Minority Leader Gerald R. Ford, made a significant move towards UFO disclosure. Following a series of UFO sightings in southern Michigan, including the famous incident in Dexter Township on March 20, 1966, where multiple witnesses reported seeing strange lights and an object in the sky, Ford called for an investigation into the UFO phenomena. The Dexter incident was later followed by another sighting on March 21, 1966, in Hillsdale, Michigan, where more than 80 Hillsdale College women reported seeing a strange flying light. Frustrated with the explanations provided by U.S. Air Force consultant astrophysicist Dr. J. Allen Hynek, who dismissed the sightings as swamp gas, Ford publicly voiced his dissatisfaction. He believed that the American public deserved a better explanation and called for multiple congressional hearings to question witnesses from the government and individuals who claimed to have seen unidentified craft, although a full-blown congressional investigation was never launched as Ford had requested. His push for an official investigation sparked interest in UFOs at the highest levels of government. Subsequently, the first public congressional hearing on UFOs took place on April 5, 1966. The Air Force also convened a panel of scientists to study the sightings later that year. Westall UFO Incident. Witnesses, including students and a teacher from Westall High School, now Westall Secondary College, reported seeing a saucer-shaped craft with a slight purple hue, approximately twice the size of a family car. The object was observed descending, overflying the school, and disappearing behind trees before reappearing and departing at high speed towards the northwest. Some accounts suggest the object may have been pursued by unidentified aircraft. Following the incident, various explanations were put forth to account for the sighting. One possibility mentioned by the Australian newspaper The Age was that the object might have been a weather balloon. However, a check revealed that no commercial, private, or RAAF pilots reported anything unusual in the area. Another explanation proposed by researcher Keith Basterfield was that the sighting could be attributed to a runaway balloon from the Highball High Altitude Balloon Project used to monitor radiation levels after British nuclear tests at Maralinga. Documents located in the National Archives and former Department of Supply supported this theory, as highball balloons had a white-silver appearance consistent with witness descriptions. There were reports of men in suits cautioning witnesses not to discuss details of the incident, leading to speculation about possible government involvement in the case. The alleged intervention by unidentified officials added to the intrigue and raised questions about the government's role in investigating UFO sightings. The Westall UFO incident had a profound impact on those who witnessed it, especially the school staff who were present during the sighting. After the event, there was a significant effort by authorities to prevent any discussion or public disclosure of what had been witnessed. The presence of Army, Air Force, and police cordoning off the area and preventing anyone from entering indicates that there was an official response to the incident, and authorities were actively trying to control the situation. The headmaster's instruction to the students not to talk about what they saw, and the threat of trouble if they did, points to the fact that there was a concerted effort to keep the matter under wraps. This behavior by the headmaster suggests that higher authorities may have exerted pressure on the school to maintain silence about the UFO sighting. The science teacher's account of being visited by two older men, one in uniform, who pressured him to change his description and deny what he saw is even more telling. The threat of losing his job and the possibility of being prosecuted under the Official Secrets Act indicates that there was a clear attempt to intimidate witnesses into silence. UFO nuke interference. During the height of the Cold War in the 1960s and 1970s, a series of alleged UFO interactions with American nuclear bases and missile test facilities occurred, which involved unidentified craft tampering with nuclear weapons. These incidents were reported by military veterans, including former U.S. Air Force officers who were in charge of nuclear missile launch facilities. The incidents raised serious concerns about the potential threat posed by unidentified aerial phenomena to national security and led to calls for further investigation and public disclosure. Among the notable incidents, Minot Air Force Base, North Dakota, 1966. Retired Air Force Captain David D. Schindel, a missile launch crew commander, claimed that a UFO, approximately 80 to 100 feet wide, appeared over the base's missile field. The object glided to the north end of the building before disappearing suddenly. Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana, 1967, former Air Force officer Robert Salas, on-duty commander of an underground launch control facility, reported that all 10 of his intercontinental ballistic missiles became inoperable simultaneously. The shutdown was considered impossible since the missiles operated independently. Walker Air Force Base, New Mexico, 1963 and 1964, Deputy Missile Combat Crew Commander Jerome C. Nelson reported UFOs emitting beams towards missile silos at Walker Air Force Base. The objects were observed hovering silently over the missile site and shining a spotlight down onto it. Big Sur, California, 1964, ex-U.S. Air Force First Lieutenant Robert Jacobs alleged a craft resembling a flying saucer circled a dummy warhead during a test flight in California, firing a beam of light at the warhead before disappearing. Ellsworth Air Force Base, Major Galen King, a retired USAF, stated, "I was on duty at Echo, which is our squadron command post. We had strike teams respond to alarms from the missiles. They were 3 to 5 miles away, and they said, 'Sir, for lack of a better description, there's a flying saucer hovering over that missile, and there's a beam of reddish light going down to it. It had to be a data collection thing. I'm sure they scanned the warhead or something.'" Colonel Charles Halt, another retired USAF, went on the record to tell his story. In 1980, at RAF Bentwater, one of the largest tactical fighter ranges and a U.S. nuclear bomb storage depot in Europe, strange lights were discovered in the forest. Security personnel found an unidentifiable object on the ground, which quickly vanished. 2 nights later, the object returned, and Colonel Halt, along with security policemen, observed it with awe. The object emitted beams, causing concern for the nearby weapons storage area. Radar operators also detected the object, which moved at an incredibly high speed, hovered momentarily, and then swiftly departed. He even recorded the encounter on his trusty cassette recorder he carried everywhere he went. James Carey, the air traffic controller, and Ivan Barker, the radar supervisors at their respective time, have gone on record to share their sighting of the object as well. These incidents, along with several others, were presented by whistleblower military veterans in a press conference at Washington, D.C.'s National Press Club. The veterans claimed to have irrefutable evidence of UFOs interfering with American nuclear weapons systems and called on the U.S. Congress to investigate the matter further through public hearings. The creation of MUFON. The creation of the Mutual UFO Network MUFON is a US-based non-profit organization that comprises civilian volunteers dedicated to studying reported UFO sightings. It is one of the oldest and largest organizations of its kind, with a global presence, claiming over 4,000 members across 43 countries and all 50 states. MUFON's establishment played a pertinent role in the slow disclosure of UFOs and non-human intelligence for several reasons. MUFON provided a platform for UFO enthusiasts, researchers, and witnesses to come together and share their experiences and knowledge. This facilitated the formation of a community of individuals interested in exploring the UFO phenomenon, fostering discussions, and sharing information. MUFON's approach involved investigating UFO sightings through trained field investigators and specialized teams. They collected reports, interviewed witnesses, performed research, and sought possible physical evidence of extraterrestrial craft. This systematic approach aimed to document and analyze UFO encounters in a more structured manner. The organization published the monthly MUFON UFO Journal and organized an annual international symposium. These platforms allowed researchers and investigators to share their findings, theories, and analysis with a wider audience, contributing to the dissemination of information about UFO encounters. The creation of MUFON was not without challenges and criticism. While it provided a valuable platform for UFO enthusiasts, it also faced criticism for veering into pseudoscience and exploring fringe topics, such as alien abductions, conspiracy theories, and exopolitics. Critics argued that this shift detracted from the organization's original mission of conducting rigorous scientific investigations. MUFON's continued existence and activity in the modern age signify an enduring interest in UFO research and investigation. Despite the criticism and skepticism it has faced, the organization continues to play a role in the ongoing exploration of unidentified aerial phenomena. The moon landing. Humanity achieved an awe-inspiring milestone as brave astronauts from Earth set foot on the moon for the very first time. Despite the persistent conspiracy theories and controversies surrounding this momentous event and its footage, what followed this significant achievement is equally captivating. Before and after the Apollo 11 mission, the astronauts shared fascinating interviews. In the pre-flight interview, their excitement, humor, occasional nerves, and even moments of boredom were evident as they anticipated their upcoming mission. One might have expected their post-flight interview to overflow with boundless excitement, elation, and relief after accomplishing this extraordinary feat. However, the atmosphere was quite the opposite. The three men appeared disturbed, stressed, and anxious, a stark contrast to what we might have envisioned from the first humans to reach the moon. But this was only the beginning of the intriguing events. Buzz Aldrin's questionable quotes, some casting doubt on the moon landing, added another layer of mystery.
I saw this illumination that was moving with respect to the stars. So technically, it becomes an unidentified flying object.
Why has nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened.
Moreover, NASA's unfortunate loss of the original moon landing data tapes forever deprived us of the primary records of this momentous achievement. Speculation arose, suggesting that these tapes might have been erased and reused, a common practice at the time. In a more recent revelation, it came to light that NASA also misplaced the technology they employed to penetrate the Van Allen radiation belt, which has been cited as a reason for our inability to return to the moon. Scientific explanations exist for all these occurrences, yet a portion of the population still harbors doubts about the authenticity of the moon landing. Some even entertain the idea of a hidden base or civilization on the moon's dark side, perpetually hidden from our view. These debates and curiosities fuel a diverse spectrum of beliefs and passionate convictions among people. Travis Walton UFO Incident. The Travis Walton UFO incident is one of the most well-known and controversial alien abduction stories in UFO lore. On November 5, 1975, Travis Walton, an American forestry worker, claimed to have been abducted by a UFO while working in the Apache Sitgreaves National Forest near Snowflake, Arizona. He disappeared for 5 days and 6 hours before reappearing near Heber, Arizona. The Walton case received widespread mainstream publicity, largely due to Walton's book, The Walton Experience, published in 1978, and its subsequent adaptation into the 1993 film Fire in the Sky. The case gained further attention when it was featured on the CNN program Larry King Live, with Walton and his co-worker Mike Rogers appearing alongside UFO researcher Philip J. Klass. The Travis Walton incident contributed significantly to the rise in public interest in alien abduction stories. Walton's account shared similarities with other abduction claims, leading some skeptics to argue that it was influenced by the 1975 made-for-TV movie The UFO Incident, based on the Barney and Betty Hill case. After Walton's UFO claim, the National Enquirer awarded him and his co-workers a prize for the Best UFO Case of the Year, based on polygraph tests they reportedly passed. However, skeptics, including UFO researcher Philip J. Klass, questioned the validity of the polygraph tests and identified discrepancies in Walton's and his co-workers' accounts. Klass deemed the case a hoax perpetrated for financial gain. The Travis Walton incident remains a focal point in discussions about UFO sightings and alien abductions. Some UFO enthusiasts believe Walton's story to be genuine, while skeptics argue that it was a well-executed hoax. Travis Walton has continued to be involved in the UFO community, occasionally appearing at UFO conventions and interviews. Tehran UFO Incident. This took place during the early morning hours of September 19, 1976 in Tehran, the capital of Iran. The incident began with multiple civilian reports of a shining object in the sky, prompting the dispatch of 2 Imperial Iranian Air Force F-4 Phantom II jet interceptors to investigate. The first F-4, piloted by Lieutenant Yadi Nazari, experienced a complete loss of instruments and communications as it approached the UFO. However, upon withdrawing from the object, the instruments were restored. The second F-4, piloted by Major Parviz Jafari, locked radar onto the object and described it as flashing with intense red, green, orange, and blue lights. As Jafari attempted to fire a missile at the UFO, his equipment malfunctioned and his communications shut off. He also reported that another bright object was released from the primary UFO and appeared to land gently on the ground, emitting a high, bright light. The incident attracted attention as it involved military jets and reports of UFO encounters from trained personnel. The encounter, along with the reported equipment malfunctions and the release of a bright object, raised questions about the nature of the unidentified flying object and whether it posed any threat. The subsequent analysis and investigation of the incident yielded different interpretations. Some skeptics, including U.S. journalist Philip J. Klass, proposed explanations suggesting that the pilots might have mistaken an astronomical body, possibly Jupiter, for the UFO. They attributed the equipment malfunctions to pilot incompetence and technical issues with the F-4 jets. Other possible explanations included the occurrence of annual meteorite showers that could account for some of the observed phenomena. Paul Bennewitz cover-up. In the late 1970s, Paul Bennewitz became a witness to perplexing lights in the sky near an Air Force base and intercepted what he believed were alien radio signals. Driven by his curiosity and patriotic duty, he took his findings to the Air Force, seeking answers about these mysterious phenomena. Surprisingly, the Air Force secretly confirmed the authenticity of his discoveries and decided to fund his research. However, the Air Force's excitement over the potential technological advancements these signals might represent quickly turned into concern. They feared that such information could pose security risks if it fell into the wrong hands. Thus, they initiated a covert disinformation campaign led by a skilled OSI agent named Richard Doty, with the purpose of deceiving the public and neutralizing potential threats. Richard Doty was a master disinformation specialist, adept at weaving intricate webs of truth and falsehoods. He saw it as his mission to sow confusion and skepticism within the UFO community, creating an environment where legitimate UFO research would struggle to gain credibility. Doty approached UFO researcher Bill Moore, manipulating him into disseminating fabricated UFO stories within the UFO community. Among these falsehoods was the infamous Aquarius document, presented to Paul Bennewitz to further deepen the deception. As the campaign intensified, Paul's mental state deteriorated, and his obsession with the subject led to his eventual hospitalization in a psychiatric facility. In a surprising twist, Richard Doty, who was supposed to deceive Paul, struck up an unexpected friendship with him. In a moment of apparent remorse, Doty tried to convince Paul to stop his research, revealing the government's intentions to confuse the public. But the damage was already done, and Paul was too deeply immersed in his quest for truth to turn back. As Paul's life spiraled out of control, his family witnessed the tragic toll the disinformation campaign had taken on him. They pleaded with him to abandon his UFO research, hoping to save him from further harm. Ultimately, Paul's mental health deteriorated to the point of no return, and he ended up in a psychiatric institution, losing not only his sanity, but also his successful business. The Paul Bennewitz case remains one of the most controversial and heartbreaking events in UFO research history. Amidst a labyrinth of disinformation and conflicting information, it is challenging to discern who's who and what's true in this complex web of deception. Richard Doty, while not entirely trustworthy due to his involvement in spreading falsehoods, is paradoxically also responsible for disseminating some genuine information, and he is still an active part in the community to this day. Doty himself admits that about 80% of the information within the UFO field is false information, while 20% of it is actually factual. Rendlesham Forest Incident. The Rendlesham Forest Incident stands as one of the most famous and well-documented UFO events to have occurred in the United Kingdom, often referred to as Britain's Roswell. The events took place in late December 1980, just outside RAF Woodbridge in Suffolk, England, which was used by the United States Air Force, USAF, at the time. Around 3 o'clock on December 26, 1980, a security patrol near the east gate of RAF Woodbridge reported seeing lights descending into Rendlesham Forest. Initially mistaken for a downed aircraft, the servicemen entered the forest to investigate and encountered a glowing, metallic object with colored lights. The object appeared to move through the trees, causing nearby farm animals to react intensely. On December 28th, the Deputy Base Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt, along with other servicemen, visited the site. They recorded radiation readings and observed flashing lights in the distance, possibly attributed to the Orford Ness Lighthouse. Halt later reported seeing star-like objects hovering in the sky for hours, beaming down streams of light at times. After daybreak on December 26th, servicemen discovered 3 small impressions on the ground in a triangular pattern, along with burn marks and broken branches nearby. The local police were called in to investigate, but they attributed the impressions to animal activity. The incident garnered significant attention, with Halt writing a memorandum about the events and an audio recording known as the Halt tape, capturing his real-time investigation. Despite the publicity, the UK Ministry of Defence stated that the event posed no threat to national security, and thus no further investigation was carried out. Skeptics have offered alternative explanations, suggesting that the initial sighting may have coincided with a fireball meteor, and the supposed landing marks were merely rabbit diggings. The flashing lights seen by witnesses on different occasions aligned with the Orford Ness Lighthouse's position, and the star-like objects were likely bright stars distorted by atmospheric and optical effects. The Creation of SETI. SETI, which stands for the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, is a not-for-profit research organization with a mission to explore, understand, and explain the origin and nature of life in the universe. The Institute's primary focus is to search for deliberate signals from technologically advanced extraterrestrial civilizations using both radio and optical telescope systems. The SETI researchers at the Institute dedicate their efforts to understanding the nature and potential proliferation of life in the universe. SETI Institute's researchers are involved in various space missions and use a range of ground-based and space-based telescopes, including the Hubble Space Telescope, Kepler, TESS, and the Herschel Space Telescope. Their collaboration with NASA and participation in missions like New Horizons, Cassini, and Mars rovers underscores their commitment to exploring the cosmos in search of signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. One of the key factors in the slow disclosure of UFOs and non-human intelligence is the establishment of credible scientific organizations like the SETI Institute, which brings legitimacy to the subject matter. Their efforts to use advanced technology and scientific methods to search for signs of intelligent life beyond Earth contribute to the overall understanding of the possibility of extraterrestrial civilizations. John Lear comes forward. John Olson Lear was an aviator who had a successful aviator career, setting multiple records and flying cargo planes for the CIA during the Vietnam era. In the 1980s, Lear began speaking about alleged collusion between aliens and secret governmental forces. He claimed that the US government had close contacts with extraterrestrials, and that they were involved in promoting films like E.T., The Extraterrestrial, and Close Encounters of the Third Kind to influence the public's perception of extraterrestrials as space brothers. Lear's statements included references to secret government committees like Majestic 12, which supposedly made a treaty with gray aliens, only to realize they had been deceived by the aliens. One significant revelation Lear makes is about a clash that allegedly occurred between American military forces and UFOs in 1979. This incident, he claims, played a pivotal role in revealing what he calls the Grand Deception. By 1983, he asserts that the government had recognized the mistake they made by making deals with these beings, and they were now grappling with the consequences of those choices. Lear's claims also encompassed UFO cover-ups spanning several decades, UFO crashes in different locations, government-sanctioned alien abductions, alien implants, alien-human hybrids, and even human mutilations attributed to aliens. His assertions included the infamous Area 51 and the stories of UFO whistleblower Bob Lazar. Regarding presidential involvement, Lear states that each president, including President Reagan, was informed about UFOs to some extent. President Reagan made speeches alluding to the possibility of an alien threat uniting humanity, which has sparked curiosity among UFO researchers.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. And yet, I ask you, is not an alien force already among us?
Lear also touches on the topic of alien abductions, stating that he has researched hundreds of cases through hypnosis. He claims that the abductees have undergone monitoring, genetic experiments, and received post-hypnotic suggestions related to a significant upcoming event. He acknowledges that the government's cover-up might have been driven by a belief that the public was not ready to handle the truth. However, he stresses that the truth remains unchanged, and regardless of the government's actions, the reality of UFOs and extraterrestrial encounters persists. Despite being described as a divisive figure with claims that often crumbled under scrutiny, John Lear remained a prominent voice in the UFO conspiracy theory community until his death on March 29, 2022. His influence on the UFO movement was significant as he introduced strong political positions, asserting that the government colluded with aliens and used their technology against the public. Bob Lazar comes forward. Bob Lazar, an American businessman and conspiracy theorist, gained notoriety in 1989 when he came forward with extraordinary claims about his alleged work on extraterrestrial technology. In an interview with investigative reporter George Knapp on a Las Vegas TV station, Lazar, using the pseudonym Dennis and concealing his identity, revealed shocking information about a secretive facility known as S4, located near the infamous Area 51 in Nevada, situated several kilometers south of Area 51, to reverse engineer advanced extraterrestrial technology. He asserted that the facility was home to 9 flying saucers of extraterrestrial origin, some of which were fully operational. Lazar's role involved examining these otherworldly crafts and studying classified government briefing documents that detailed alien involvement in human affairs spanning thousands of years. The interview sent shockwaves through the UFO community and sparked a wave of curiosity and attention surrounding Area 51. Despite facing skepticism and opposition from skeptics and some ufologists, Lazar's claims ignited discussions and conspiracy theories about classified activities at the secret military installation. However, critics have challenged Lazar's credibility, pointing out discrepancies and inconsistencies in his background and employment history. Lazar claimed to hold master's degrees in physics from MIT and electronics from Caltech, but both institutions have no records of his attendance. His academic qualifications have been contested by experts who argue that someone with his academic performance would not have been accepted by these prestigious universities. Moreover, Lazar's professional role at the Los Alamos Meson physics facility turned out to be that of a technician for a contractor firm, not a physicist, as he had claimed. His designation as a physicist is self-proclaimed and has not been substantiated by credible records. Lazar's story of reverse engineering advanced alien technology powered by an antimatter reactor fueled by the element E-115 also lacks scientific evidence. While Lazar's revelations have attracted a following of supporters, the lack of tangible evidence has left many skeptical. Over the years, he has continued to generate public interest, but has also faced criticism for his criminal activities and lack of verifiable evidence to support his extraordinary claims. In 2017, Lazar's workplace was raided by the FBI and local police, adding further intrigue to his already enigmatic persona. Despite the controversies and doubts surrounding his story, Bob Lazar remains a polarizing figure in the UFO community, and his claims continue to spark curiosity and debate about the possibility of extraterrestrial involvement in human affairs. Belgian UFO Wave. The Belgian UFO Wave was a remarkable series of sightings that began on November 29, 1989, when 2 Belgian police officers reported seeing a large, triangular-shaped object with bright lights hovering silently over a field in Eupen, Belgium. This marked the start of numerous UFO reports across the country. The wave reached its peak on the night of 30th and 31st of March 1990. The Control Reporting Center, CRC, at Glans received reports of 3 unusual lights moving towards Thorenby-Gembloux. This prompted the scrambling of 2 F-16 fighters from Beauvechene Air Base to investigate. However, despite the radar tracking of an unknown object, the F-16 pilots reported no sightings of the craft. Interestingly, over the next 2 weeks, reports from 143 people claiming to have witnessed the object flooded in, but all of these reports came after the event. In the following months, many others also claimed to have witnessed similar events. The Belgian Air Force released a report detailing the events of that night, which raised questions about the authenticity of the sightings. Some experts and investigators proposed alternative explanations, including the possibility of a mass delusion, where the media coverage led to more people reporting UFO sightings due to the suggestive power of such reports. Others suggested that some sightings could be explained by helicopters, and there was debate about whether the UFO phenomenon was genuine or a product of the public's imagination. Dr. Stephen Greer comes forward. Dr. Stephen Greer is a ufologist and former emergency room physician. He claims to have had 2 UFO sightings in his life and retired from medicine in 1998 to focus on ufology activities. Not long after this, Dr. Greer founded the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, SETI, in 1990. He founded SETI with a unique and ambitious goal: to explore peaceful and diplomatic contact with extraterrestrial civilizations through what he called consciousness-based protocols. SETI conducts fieldwork and expeditions to locations that have reported UFO sightings and alleged encounters with extraterrestrial beings. The primary purpose of these expeditions is to initiate and facilitate communication with possible extraterrestrial visitors using unconventional approaches based on meditation, remote viewing, and other consciousness-based techniques. The protocols developed by Dr. Greer and SETI involve delving into the realm of human consciousness as a means to establish contact and communicate with advanced civilizations from beyond Earth. This approach is distinct from traditional scientific methods used in the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, which often focus on technological signals and observable phenomena. Instead, SETI explores the potential of human consciousness as a bridge for communication with non-hostile extraterrestrial intelligences. Over the years, SETI has organized numerous expeditions, bringing together scientists, researchers, and interested individuals who share an open mind about the possibility of peaceful contact with extraterrestrial beings. By combining scientific curiosity with spiritual and consciousness-based practices, the organization has sparked discussions and debates within the UFO research community and the general public. SETI also encourages members of the public to report their UFO sightings and experiences, contributing to a growing database of potential off-world interactions. This approach reflects a shift in the way UFO and alien encounters are perceived, moving beyond mere curiosity to actively seeking to understand and establish contact with extraterrestrial civilizations in a peaceful manner. In 1993, Dr. Stephen Greer founded the Disclosure Project with the goal of publicly disclosing the government's alleged knowledge of UFOs and advanced energy systems. The project seeks to grant amnesty to government whistleblowers willing to share classified information about UFOs. Greer claims to have briefed CIA Director James Woolsey, although Woolsey disputes this claim,